So there are 14 weapons in this game, right? I love all the weapons in this game, but I want you to look at this real quick. Okay, some light. How about this? Okay, cool, right? I promise you, I suck with this weapon, but I can do a good amount with it. This is one of the best speedrunning and favorited weapons to use in all of Monster Hunter. So, Capcom decided, you know what? Fuck the weapon. I'm gonna come back to that. So, you all should know, Title Update 2 is in 3 to 2 days, depending on when I upload, and they're doing massive changes to 12 out of the 14 weapons. Before I start, I want to say, Capcom Monster Hunter dev team has really shown they listen to their community. From the complaints that the game is too easy, statements that the game isn't fully optimized for certain PCs, they have made a statement that supports certain graphics cards to help the performance of PCs, to the monsters that the community wants to return in newer games. Of course, many more. Now, they have made balance changes to weapons. Some are buffs, and some are nerfs. Here's what's new for the weapons, starting with hammer. So to normally do an offset, it's about 3 normal hits, and the 4th one you can charge until the monster attacks to counter it. Normally, if you succeed in an offset attack with the hammer, you don't have any follow-ups like the other weapons. Now, if you land an offset, you gain a follow-up attack, potentially doing a lot of damage towards the monster's head. It can cause major flinches and even KOs. I'm very excited to see more hunters using hammer. It's about to be a bonk city. That's not all it can do. When you perform a charge step, you can increase your charge levels faster, but it states from a dodge. Now, that can mean 2 things. 1, when you perform a charge step, since you press circle or B to evade, does that allow the charge to increase? Or 2, when you perform a charge step, it has to be a perfect dodge to gain the effects of the increased charge. We won't know until we see it in action. Faster charge makes for stronger attacks. If it's the second option, that can give hunters the edge on continuously attacking monsters if they perfectly dodges all the monsters' attacks. Big bang raw damage has been increased, so that's amazing. No stun increase, but the hammer already has the best stun effect in the game. Mighty Charge Slam has increased raw damage and elemental damage. That move is really good, though a lot of hunters I've seen don't utilize this. Even myself, giving this increase in damage all around. That will allow hunters to realize, oh snap, I forgot all about this move. Let me use it more. Hitboxes for certain attacks such as Big Bang have been adjusted. Now that could be a good and a bad thing. There have been many times I missed my final hits with this weapon since the monster slightly moves to the left. It could be a bad thing though, since they never stated if the hitboxes are going to be bigger or smaller. We just have to see when the patch drops. Lastly, fix an issue where the damage display appears twice for the Big Bang level 4. I've never personally realized that, but good fix. Next, sword and shield. Finally, the weapon shield bash, shield attack, and hard bash is getting a raw damage buff and stun increase. If you're playing sword and shield, you mainly want to be at the head of the monster. But when I tell you I would use the shield attacks for the stun and rarely get it, I'm glad to see a buff in those moves. Perfect Rush has had an increase in raw damage. Chop and Slide Slash and Counter Slash has its raw damage decreased. So not all buffs for the weapons, but still very valuable. Dual Blaze has a good amount of buffs and barely any nerfs. Just the way I like it. I'm not a Dual Blaze main, but I know y'all are eating swell for this update. Starting off, when entering demon mode, you are able to change directions while in mid dash. Dual Blaze always had the best movement out of all the weapons, so we have to wait and see how this affects the weapon in combat. While in demon boost mode, you can chain a dodge into Blade Dance. It turns your Blade Dance level 1 into level 2. That's a huge boosted damage, but if you don't have enough demon gauge, the move stays or turns back into Blade Dance level 1. Demon mode movement speed has been increased. Basic moves such as 6-fold Demon Slash, Demon Flurry Rush, and Demon Flurry all has their raw damage increased. Screw Slicer raw, elemental, and ailment scaling has been greatly increased. Focus Strike, aka Turning Tide, raw damage has been increased. Heavenly Blade Dance raw damage has been increased. Blade Dance elemental scaling and ailment scaling has been slightly decreased, but its raw damage has been increased. Raw damage from Demon Boost mode has been slightly decreased, but the raw damage has been increased. Finally, Power Prolonger skills has been fixed due to the fact that it made the duration of the Demon Boost mode buffs last longer than intended. Wow. Dual Blades just got a whole revamp. God damn, look at them buffs. Now, for longswords. You know, in the earlier clip, I stated that it's one of the best speed running weapons. Yeah, my fault, not gonna lie. It's not even top 3. Crazy, right? Though, there are great news about this weapon. First, it's its elemental scaling for the move Crimson Slash level 2. It has been significantly increased. Not only that, its raw damage, elemental damage, and ailment scaling for Crimson Slash level 3 has been increased. Looking at these weapon buffs, got me low-key thinking, what kind of difficult monsters Capcom has up their sleeve? Continuing on, Spirit Release Slash, Spirit Round Slash, and Spinning Crimson Slash all has their raw damage increased. Eye Spirit scaling for Crimson Slash level 1 has been decreased. Great buffs all around. Gunlance has no buffs nor nerfs, just a fix on getting a crit for a certain move such as Multi-Worm Stake Full Blast. There's an unattended high chance that subsequent hits would also be crit hits. Bows and bowguns also have no buffs nor nerfs, only fixed issues. For bowguns, it's where the skill Airborne would not activate correctly for spread ammo. For bows, it's where the bow coding would unintentionally switch to unequip under certain conditions. Greatsword. Where's Greatsword? No Greatsword? Life is hard. The last 3 are Charge Blade, Switch Axe, and Hunting Horn. For Switch Axe, it's now easier to adjust your distance to monsters when using Unbridled Slash and Full Release Slash while in focus mode. The backward movement triggered by Element Discharge finisher can be reduced slightly by tilting the left stick of the player's character direction. Significantly increase the elemental scaling of follow-up explosions from sword attacks when using elemental files. Increase the elemental scaling of the follow-up explosions from Unbridled Slash, Full Release Slash, and in Axe mode, follow up Morph Slash when using elemental files. In Axe mode, follow up Heavy Slam and follow up Morph Slash that has raw damage increased. The amount of switch gauge recovery when performing basic attacks in Axe mode has been increased. Increase the raw damage and amp gauge recovery of the axe, morphing Rising Double Slash, and reduce its gauge consumption. In sword mode, triple slash raw damage and amp gauge recovery amount have been increased. The amount of switch gauge consumed when performing sword overhead slash has been decreased. For charge blades, guard points have perfect guard detection. You can now chain the Savage Axe upon successful perfect guards from guard point. Explosive file raw damage from chaining into a super amp element discharge from a certain attacks such as amped element discharge has been increased. Raw damage from amped element discharge and super amped element discharge has been increased. Weak slash, return stroke, and shield thrust raw damage had been slightly increased. Explosive file raw damage for axe, element discharge axe, amp element discharge, and axe super amp element discharge have been increased. Impact explosive raw damage has been increased while in sword mode boost. Impact file raw damage has been increased while in sword boost mode. In axe mode, element discharge now chains more quickly onto other basic axe moves like axe dash slam or axe lethal fade slash. The raw damage and multi-hit attacks while in power axe mode has been decreased, and the rest are fixed issues. And finally, Hunting Horn. Performing a focus strike, reverb with precise timing now plays an additional note at the end of the attack. Performing focus strike reverb with precise timing now sets an echo bubble at the end of the attack. You can prevent the echo bubble by holding R2 on the PS5 or RT on the Xbox or R on the default keypad for the PC at the end of the action. Hitting a monster with a single hit of resounding melody now triggers a sound wave. Your surge kit no longer stops when performing while mounted. That's really huge. The damage hitbox for Echo Bubble has been significantly increased. The evade window for offset melody has been increased. Oh, that's extremely good. Fixed an issue where switching from one hunting horn to another would incorrectly display melodies that had not been played as an encore. Fix an issue where connecting with an offset melody would sometimes fail to successfully offset attacks. Fix an issue where shock notes would not properly reset when chaining into a special performance. And those are all the latest buffs so far. Hopefully we're going to be able to see major improvements when we use the weapon. These come in 3 to 2 days. Comment down below what y'all think. If you enjoyed the video, hit a like, please. Oh my god, this took so long. Subscribe down below. And have a nice day. Peace.